Good evening again. My name is Michael Eaton, and I've already lost my voice. I apologize. A few years ago, in 1997 and 1998, I served as Secretary General of NMUN. In my current role as Executive Director, it has been an honor to work with the volunteer staff and the Board of Directors to provide an educational opportunity that I know firsthand has an impact on many lives. I can think of no better example of the impact of this conference on so many than the life of an invaluable NMUN supporter, Ambassador Joseph Melrose, who passed away unexpectedly last November. On page 11 of your program is a section labeled In Memoriam, which I hope you will read later during the week. But before we conclude this ceremony, I would ask that you join with us as we share a few memories, for in many ways, our collective commitment to providing a realistic simulation is one of his legacies. In 1966, Joe Melrose attended the National Model UN General Assembly, representing the Dominican Republic as a student from Ursinus College. 4 decades later, Ambassador Melrose retired from the U.S. Foreign Service, became ambassador in residence in his alma mater, and became the advisor to the same Model UN program he had participated in as a student. We are pleased that Becky and the students of Ursinus College have joined us here and are continuing on in that tradition. Between his 2 Model UN experiences as an advisor and as a student, and as a professor, he was posted to various places: Vietnam, Pakistan, Syria, places where he made a difference. He is widely credited with helping end the hostilities in Sierra Leone and forge peace through the Lomé Peace Accord. I had the opportunity last week to speak with Zeynep Bangura, the SG Special Representative on Sexual Violence and Conflict. At the time, in Sierra Leone, she was a civil society leader, and what she recalled was that after the Civil War, both sides were angry, and it was Joe who made them understand that they needed to find a way to peace. In my faith tradition, there is a saying that blessed are the peacemakers. As Rick Dutton and others can attest, he was one of those peacemakers. The only thing he may not have succeeded in is retirement. After leaving the Foreign Service and beginning to teach, he joined our board of directors, that of several other organizations, and then was called back to the United Nations, to the U.S. mission, a few days a week, first as an area advisor, and then as U.S. Ambassador for Management and Reform. Though he truly seemed to enjoy his work on the 5th committee, the Budget Committee, he was also honest that dues assessments would not make a good topic for Model United Nations. He would, however, invite his colleagues to come to NMUN, individuals like Susan Rice, Samantha Power, and James Jonah, and they would leave impressed by our commitment to global citizenship displayed by you, the delegates. Excellency, my last phone call with Ambassador Melrose was him relaying to me your acceptance of our invitation to speak, and he explained that you had accepted with pleasure, and that in diplomatic speak was the equivalent of multiple exclamation points and smiley faces on a text. Thank you also to the ambassador's colleagues from the U.S. mission, both to Jesse and to Eugene Chen, who are here tonight as well. As a board member of NMUN and as president from 2005 to 2008, he challenged us to make the simulation as realistic as one can in 5 days, to emphasize the civility with which professional diplomats like Amira here from the OIC do their work, and unlike the sometimes fiery speeches of the general debate by heads of state, to give students a chance to study about another country and culture while also honing their skills in research, speaking, and negotiation. Joe also had an eye for detail. He did not hesitate to tell someone at the conference to go and put on a tie. It didn't matter if it was one of his delegates or another faculty advisor. He exemplified the ideals of modesty, integrity, and hard work. I suspect that as a Model UN delegate many years ago, his was not the loudest voice, but always measured and reasonable and helping find a way forward. He was as comfortable as part of presidential overseas visits with Presidents Ford and Reagan as he was getting a hot dog on the streets of New York outside the UN. He didn't rely on titles or pretense. He went in and made situations better. and it earned him the respect of colleagues, and he received the Department of State Secretary's Distinguished Service Award, among many other honors. The National Collegiate Conference Association, the sponsor of NMUN, has named an Ambassador Joseph H. Melrose Jr. International Scholarship in his memory and to honor his many contributions to NMUN and to the world. We are working to, at a future date, bring a delegation from Sierra Leone. I personally had the great pleasure to work with the ambassador for more than a decade, and he became a mentor and a friend. Phone calls would typically end with him saying, "Don't do anything I wouldn't do," and I would respond that that didn't leave much out, and him saying, "That's true." His son gave me the great privilege to be able to visit him in hospital last fall, and I told him that he could rest in peace, that others would continue his work. I wondered later what he would have replied, and I think it would have simply been to say, "Inshallah." I would ask that you all join with me in observing a few moments of silence as we remember Ambassador Melrose not only for his recent work with NMUN, but also for his service to the global community. Thank you, and may his life and that of Ambassador Jonah be examples to all you delegates of what you can do next and the impact that you can have in the world. At this time, we would normally turn the opening session back over to the Secretary General to open the conference, but Roger Singh has graciously agreed to defer that honor, and instead I would like to ask to come forward to the podium Joe's granddaughter, not quite 3 years old, Nina Josephine, along with her father, Joseph Andrew, to whom NCCA is also indebted for his sage legal counsel, and please join me in welcoming them to open the 2015 conference. I think we have a future Secretary General and member of the Secretariat. Excellent job.